Hey everybody, welcome to Insight with Moonshadow. This is the Earth Day special edition. And the reason why we're doing this Earth Day special edition today is for the fact, yes, today is 4/22/2016, Earth Day 2016. And I wouldn't be Moonshadow if I wasn't honoring Mother Earth in one way, shape, or form, since I'm pretty Earth crunchy. So what is Earth Day? Now, Earth Day started in 1970. And basically, enough people, they really looked at how the earth was getting depleted by not having enough trees and overdevelopment of real estate, taking down trees, logging industries. All of that have really decimated a lot of our natural habitat. So now, since 1970, they've actually put together this huge movement, which I will be putting this in the chat, earthday.org. Now, basically, with Earth Day, it's more than just an excuse to get out in nature. So one of the first things that I would like to challenge and provoke all of you here in the show, as well as all you out there in the digital landscape, to leave your office for 15-20 minutes, go outside, have your coffee or have a break, get outside, and really you can you could get out there and just commune with nature a little bit, because there's got to be a spot of grass somewhere. There's going to be a tree or a flower, that kind of thing. Now, if you truly want to be really proactive with Earth Day today, you could plant a tree. Now, there's 24 hours in a day, and you could plant a potted plant or stop by your local garden shop and buy a plant and put that in the ground. Now, Beth's saying that she did that today when she had time. Sun was shining and the birds were tweeting. Very nice. And this is in the UK, where the foliage looks really beautiful and really green, and they get lots of water there. So that's awesome that you got out there and you're in nature. And also with Beth alone, I know Beth, and she's out in nature all the time. She as she's going to work, she doesn't go necessarily in a vehicle all the time, so she does a lot of walking. And to and from work in a small little village. So that is amazing. And that's also very, very good for your health as well. Now, also in honoring Mother Earth, not only with it being Earth Day, you can honor Mother Earth by being more conscious and mindful. And I know people probably get sick of me saying mindfulness, mindful, be good to yourself, be good to your earth, but this is really, really important stuff. This is really, really, really key and important and paramount for you to be good to yourself and be good to your environment. So, and thank you, Q. If you go into like recycling, for example, are you aware that there are some cities that still don't have a recycling program? There are people that still buy bottles and bottles and bottles of water, and all that plastic has to go somewhere. That plastic lasts thousands of years unless you have the newer high-tech plant-based bottles. So be aware of even the plastic that you're consuming, that you're paying for. And as Q is saying, or it costs too much, so people don't do it, right? So, but ultimately, we are going to choke ourselves to death. I personally have taken the soda can, those soda can plastic where you have the 6-packs. I've literally taken them off in animals myself. So if I see them on the beach, or I see them around me, first thing you do is you cut them open so animals can't get stuck in them, and get rid of them properly. So, not trying to make this sound like a lecture, and it's not a lecture. It's just a reminder a really heartfelt reminder to say, you know, our earth is our earth. And if we go ahead and go along with what we have done as a society and ruin it and killed ourselves over overdevelopment, over too many fossil fuels, over not being mindful enough to take care of our own environment, we're going to be no more extinct than the dinosaurs. So it's time to do it today. So if you can work on one thing today to honor Mother Earth, this Earth Day, either garden a little bit. If you can't garden, buy a potted plant so you can put it in your garden later. You know, like Beth's saying, I buy bottled water, but it's biodegradable bottle, so that's good, as I don't like tap water. It's yucky. Now, a perfect little life hack for you, Beth, is you see this here. This is Voss, right? This is actually Norwegian water, I think. I think it's from Norway, I think. Yes, it's Norwegian water. However, this is just the bottle. This is actually Brita water. So it's filtered water. So in lieu of spending a lot of money on bottled water, what you do is you can get a really good Brita pitcher, or you can get a very good water filtration pitcher. Well, that's okay. I can challenge that. It's got to be flavored. You could flavor it. If you like lemon, you can squeeze lemon in there, or lime, or you can infuse it with other types of flavoring that's actually good for you. There's also a slim, you can make like slimming, I think it's called slimming water. You have to look it up, but I don't have it handy with me. But you can actually put cucumber, mint, a lot of different things, and you can infuse this water, leave it in your fridge, and it'll actually help you lose a couple of pounds. See, basil and strawberries. That sounds good, Q. But you could do this with any water, and you can really help the environment, help yourself, because a lot of times we drink a lot of soda and a lot of crap, you know, and it's not necessarily good for you. Right. And and also too, in the defense of a lot of companies, they are going with more plant-based, biodegradable bottles that they're post-consumer, and they're also, so the plastic isn't lasting 1,000 years in a landfill. Because ultimately, would you want to live next to a landfill? I know I wouldn't. So a big part of honoring Mother Earth, even if there are people that I know that can't really get out much, you know, or have allergies, or have to watch out for pollen counts and things like that. Now, you can still honor Mother Earth. Why? Because you can have plants in your own home that are friendly to you. Especially, you can nurture rare plants. I know someone that does that. So that's also a big part of it too. Bring the outside indoors without causing harm to yourself and children, that kind of thing. So that's also part of it too. You can also do that. So today is it's really important to not just honor Mother Earth on Earth Day or big monumental days like this. This is only a reminder. Internationally, this is a reminder to be more mindful and to be more caring of your surroundings. Like a lot of people in the UK call their yards or backyards, front yards, their gardens. So I will actually use that interchangeably. And sometimes I'll use call garden, my yard a garden. So all of that is really, really key and really, really important. And it starts with like the little ripple. You throw that little pebble into the water, that ripple is going to grow exponentially. And if it took that small little sampling of people, if a little bit of everybody went ahead and did that, we would have a phenomenal turnout. We would have an amazing movement. Just think about it. Think about what happened with the ALS, bucket challenge. How many people did that? So there are certain things that we can do that are really important for our own survival, for our own health. Enjoy less processed foods, and that's a whole other topic, but that is also part of taking care of yourself and taking care of your environment. Go to farmers markets. All of these things are just really, really key to being able to live healthily and provide for other people and to help other people build and get better and better. So this is why I decided to do the special edition of Insight with Moonshadow, because this is something that needs to get out there. Not enough people know about it or do it. And it's more than a hashtag. It's more than a viral video. It's more than something on Facebook or something on social media. This is our lives. And we need to be more responsible in them. Be kinder to people. All of this is really, really important. Now, how does that connect with honoring Mother Earth? Well, for honoring ourselves, and we're not doing things to destroy each other, our environment, our way of life. You know what I mean? There's ways of going around things, and there's a better or healthier way of doing things that we don't have to destroy to live. And I think that's really, really important. And Beth's saying that they've recently put lots and lots of solar panels not far from me. Greenland gone. Terrible. There must be another way. Right. And that's also a thing too. Fossil fuels, we only have so many fossil fuels. So there's got to be a way of having replenishable energy, renewable energy. For example, another way you can honor Mother Earth too, if you're going to do a renovation of your place, think about, instead of hardwoods, try bamboo. It grows back relatively quickly, and you're not deforesting huge spaces just so you can put something pretty on your floor. So bamboo's part of it. And just using bamboo, for example, it's biosustainable. It grows very quickly. It's replaceable very, very fast, of course. And there's dishware, there's flooring. There's so many different ways of utilizing bamboo. That's just one example. That's just one example out of a lot of things. Reuse and repurpose. Upcycle your stuff. So instead of throwing it out so it gets in the landfill, upcycle it. Try to find a home for it. All these little things, all these little life hacks are going to help you and help the planet and help people. Because we've become so much of a disposable environment, a disposable society. If you have some cell phones that you no longer use, there's a program that you could give them to battered women or people that need to find work and they can't afford a phone. You can go ahead and donate it. I've donated two of my cars to the deaf. And as much as it was a tax deduction, that's not why I did it. It was the fact that they sold the vehicles for parts or whatever they did, and they made money, and that was my way of giving back. So I think that's also a big part of it. Paying it forward and being able to give back. What can you do to help someone else? So with today, it being about, Earth Day, today, nature. Let's focus on nature. What can you do to help nature? Another way you can potentially honor Mother Earth. Find things that you can recycle or be more proactive in recycling. Okay, Beth feeds birds. Does that count? Yes, it does. Absolutely. That does count. And that is honoring Mother Earth. The fact that you go walking all the time, Beth, that's like huge. You know? So understanding that we all have something that we can do. All of us can do something to make the world a better place. Sometimes in our crazy, chaotic worlds, it's very difficult to take the time to say, you know what, I'm going to eat lunch outside. A lot of people eating lunch in their cubicles. Are they in a rush? And I get it. We're a society of multitasking. But 5 or 10 minutes outside, breathing, or, using the stairs instead of the elevator. All those things help with us honoring ourselves, honoring Mother Earth, and being able to really key into overall just being better, improvement. Like I just had some overripe fruit. I ate part of it, and I tossed the rest for birds and animals to have it. Why throw it down my garbage disposal when you can have raccoons or possum or squirrels or other animals go out there and find it, and that's one less thing that they have to forage for. That's another thing you can do too. If you have food, yeah, you don't have any possums there, but if you have old bread, that kind of stuff, like I may not eat bread after 3 days. However, you can give it to someone that will eat it, Okay, Q's also saying here, I saw birds in a big garbage can and it made me sad. Yeah, well, unfortunately, as we take up a lot of their spaces, they have to, they have to find other ways to eat, I remember I was grabbing a coffee one day, and where I was grabbing a coffee was next to a McDonald's. There was like seagulls. There was like 1,000 seagulls, flying around the parking lot because people were, they're feeding them fries and things. They were like, hey, this is like a buffet. This is like a seagull buffet. So a lot of this, the reason why I'm bringing this today up to conversation is really to be more thoughtful of how you impact the world, how you impact people, how you impact nature. So if you're going to go and take, I've seen it. I've seen people take like a coffee cup and throw it out a window. They still do that today. Now, granted, it's a $500 fine. In my neck of the woods, it's $500 fine to litter. But being a little more mindful and waiting to get home to throw it out or to recycle if it's styrofoam, how much work does that take? So ultimately, this is really the key. This is really the reason. Take a few minutes every day. Focus on, try going paperless. That's another thing. As I'm looking at what Beth is writing here, in one paper today, the council has been alerted that the birds are dive bombing the public as they eat outdoors. Well, when you have to survive, you have to survive. It's not necessarily good, but that's another way that you could be more environmentally friendly. Go paperless. I use bill pay. And the way they dive bomb, trust me, it is a scary thing for sure, because I've seen it happen. But honestly, this is something that you could do. There's so many things that we could do to make things a little better. And it's not a stretch. It's not changing your lifestyle in a big, huge way. You know? And that's understandable. But also too, I remember, I haven't done this in a while, but I've actually gone to the park with old bread, snack crackers, stuff that wouldn't be harmful to seagulls. And I used to bring like old cereal if I didn't eat it. And if it was like cereal I wasn't crazy about, I'd go down to the park and I'd be feeding the seagulls. It got to the point where I would show up. Oh yeah, well, even cereal can go stale. Not our favorite cereal, but you know what I'm saying. So I'd go down there, and I'd be getting out of at the time I had a Mustang, so I'd be pulling out bags out of my Mustang, and automatically they saw me. So anyone says that animals aren't intelligent, I'd have like all of a sudden like hundreds of seagulls flying down, and I'd be yelling at the fat ones because they'd be bullying the skinny ones. And oh yeah, that's entertainment in itself. But the whole thing is, I took time out of my day to do that, not for people to see, not for it to go viral, not for it to be, yeah, seagull body shaming, right? Not for the newspaper to see me. It's not even the fact of that. It was about just to give back or to help some of these animals. So that's really important. So now, in doing a little bit to help the environment, you're going to be able to do a lot. Hey, Maytar. And Maytar wants to pop in. Now, Maytar, the topic is Earth Day today. And how are you honoring Mother Earth? If you are, or if you have any ideas. Let's see if Maytar can come in.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Maytar, what's going on? Happy Earth Day, man.
Thank you very much. For me, I would tell you happy holiday Pesach today. It's the most important Jew Menadi holiday in my country.
Oh, it's Passover too, right?
Yes, it is the time when we say I say also from the time I remember myself, I always say from slavery to freedom, to liberty.
That's excellent. That is awesome.
Wait, but what's the meaning of the word liberty? What's the difference between liberty and freedom?
Well, they're similar. They're similar.
But I think that liberty is more relevant when you want to mean the opposite of slavery, right?
Excuse me, say that again.
When you want to describe the opposite of slavery, liberty is more relevant, right?
Well, liberty, or you can have freedom. That probably slavery and freedom is probably the more direct opposite. But what we're talking about today, though, and I respect your holiday.
Thanks.
Today is about honoring nature. Is about honoring nature, and today is Earth Day. Like in the U.S. as well as around the world, people are like recycling. They're planting a tree to create more abundance in nature and making the world a better place. So it must be dark there. So you're not planting a tree anytime soon. You're in bed probably.
I'm not in bed. I'm in the living room. It's dark because it's almost 9 p.m. And I like to recycle. I like to save the earth, and I like to recycle. Especially, I like to recycle things that I can recreate with. You know,
so you repurpose.
What?
So you like to repurpose things as well, like finding new purpose for things, correct?
Yes, yes. If you take, for instance, if you take metals, you melt them down, you forge metals, and then you recreate. If you're not lazy, of course. And if you take something else, like maybe glass, well, glass, it's not. Maybe it's not a good example because sand you have in abundance, but you can recreate from many materials.
Exactly. And a perfect example is I was mentioning earlier that a lot of the plastic bottles that you find, the water bottles and juice bottles, a lot of them are more plant based, so they're more biodegradable, and then they feel like plastic, but they actually naturally compose into the earth, and they don't cause such damage.
Yeah, but I don't know how the individual can make money out of plastic, you know?
Well, it's not always about making money. It's
But it's
also about, also too, if you really think about it, we can't make any money if the earth is destroyed. We can't make any money if half the planet is sick with diseases from all the chemicals and everything that are produced, correct? So that's also part of it too. It's part of the balance.
okay, yeah, but you know, you bring up a very good point here. So do you agree with me that human beings are a part of Earth? We are
Absolutely.
resident, just like the other animals, right?
Absolutely.
Would you deny, or have you ever heard that some governments these days are um, putting aluminum in the atmosphere for us to breathe, and also poisons in the water supply and food and things like that. So have you
Well,
heard about
absolutely.
the air thing about the aluminum, or you never
I
heard
have
about it?
not heard of I have not heard of the aluminum in the air. However, there are a lot of uh, factories and a lot of corporations that don't really care about this, polluting our water and our air for them to make their products. So yeah, that's unfortunate that they're not as responsible as they should be. And this is the purpose of the reason for the topic today is because if you go ahead and you're more responsible and mindful of what you are producing, you're going to have a better turnout. You're going to make better money, and you're going to also just overall be a better company. So a lot of chemicals are getting flushed out into water, and this is another reason why that we need to be more mindful of that. Thank you very much, Q, for coming by, and good luck today. But this is all important, Matar. This is really, 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 really important. Is that we have this responsibility we were given. Now, whether you look at it spiritually, whether you look at it physically, it doesn't matter where or how you look at it. If we're not responsible, if we're not proper shepherds of this earth, if we're not proper caretakers of this earth, we'll be destroying ourselves no different than other society has destroyed itself multiple times. You know?
But first of all, I just want to point out that it also goes back to corruption again. You know, because when you will be at the great position of the owner or CEO of a very big factory that is polluting, of course, the people that have money have the influence. But then again, if you are going to make change, you're either going to change your business structure, or or you're going to lose money. Uh, because the pollution is a result of them making money.
Exactly. And this is definitely a reason why you want to be a mindful business. You want to be a business that recycles and is more responsible about what you do and how you impact the environment. Hey Natalie, how you doing?
Hi, I'm well. How are you? Can you hear me?
You sound great.
Okay. I just wanted to add something. I found a very good quote by the anthropologist Jane Goodall. that I really think is applicable to not just Earth Day, but also to mindfulness and how it relates to Earth Day, and I wanted to share it. It was a little bit too much. It was a little bit too much to type. So it says, you cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you make. And I think that's very good wisdom, because like you were saying, some people can do a lot more than others. Just like Maytar was saying, there's some businesses that have a lot more, say, control over things like factories and things like that. But we can do simple things like recycle, or, you know, like you said, use our old food to feed the birds and things like that. So, you know, everyone has to look within themselves and see to what level they can make a difference. And you kind of have to live with the decision you make.
Exactly. A lot of people, unfortunately, this is the dilemma that we have. A lot of people go and say, we're going to destroy ourselves anyway, so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
People become negligent. They become lazy. They become despondent and complacent about it. Now, and also, if you have a URL, if you have a link for that quote, definitely put it in the chat. Or
I just kind of randomly found it.
Oh, you randomly found it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you can, send it to me, because I'd like to save that quote, because it's a really good one.
Good. All right, I will.
But ultimately, it is a part of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It is a part of doing little things to make a big movement. All it took, like, just say, for example, Rosa Parks was not allowed to sit in front of the bus because she was segregated. She would not sit in back of the bus. One person made a difference.
Exactly.
Now, it's no different. No different. So if all of us do one thing to make a difference, then all of a sudden, the world will be a better place. It may not be today, and maybe it may not be 10 minutes from now, but there will be a difference.
And even on the grander scale, if we start finding businesses that are doing practices that are harmful to the earth or harmful, you know, to the air or water, we can choose not to do business with them, and you take our money elsewhere. You know, Maytar was talking about money. The dollar does speak, and a lot of businesses have heard that. And I know things like Poland Spring now, they use less plastic in their cap, so you know they are getting the message.
And they're one of the companies that are using plant-based, so they're not all plastic, which is good.
Yeah,
and
or post-consumer.
This is all right, and this is so important, because if you use, say, a plastic bottle, and the plastic bottle becomes a toaster, and the toaster becomes a footstool, and the footstool becomes a flower pot, that's okay, because eventually it'll run out, and we're gonna have to put the plastic somewhere. But with all the plastics that's out in the world today, there's so many things we can do and should do with it, because it was like a revolutionary boom. This plastic, this product, it was like, we can do tons of things with it. Well, guess what? They never thought of what damage it can cause.
They never saw Staten Island.
Nope. Styrofoam's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I use a travel mug. Here's another perfect example. Here's another little life hack for you guys. A little bit of moonsight. Use a travel mug. Every coffee place has a travel mug you can buy for either $1 or $1.99, or even if it's $7.99. Granted, it could be plastic, it could be glass, it could be a lot of different things, but you can reuse that multiple times. And
oftentimes we'll get a discount too if you bring in your own.
Exactly. For fill-ups, you'll get a discount. Plus, you're being better.
Same thing with grocery bags. So check that out.
And that's another thing as well. To take your old grocery bags, bring them back to the store. They will reuse them and recycle them. So with all these little bits, these little things that we can do that doesn't take more than a few extra minutes in our day, we can really utilize our responsibility and make our planet better. So it's huge. Welcome, Tony. So this is what it's all about. This is really what isn't so important here, is that not being mindful enough we can literally destroy ourselves time and time and time again. Should we? Are we that stupid? And yes, I said, are we that stupid? Unfortunately, as a society, some people do not think about the big picture. They don't think about their own responsibility of how they could make the world a better place. So this is where I'm challenging everyone. Now, granted, no one's perfect, me included. But I do what I can. I recycle. I separate my recyclables to where, to follow the rules and regs of the recycling program in my town. Anything I can repurpose or reuse, I do. I don't use styrofoam. If I can help it, don't use it. Paper plates, I'd rather wash a plate. But even if you use paper, it's still recyclable as opposed to plastic. You use plastic stuff, the more money you put into plastics, the more they're going to create plastics, and the more they're going to destroy the planet with plastic. Okay? And then Beth is saying if you take your own biodegradable bags back to the store, you get points that turn into pounds for money off your grocery. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what I meant before.
Well, see, I didn't know that they don't do that here. I basically just bring back my bags. But and that's another thing too. There are bags that you can buy for 99 cents. So you can eliminate plastic altogether, or totes. I've seen more than a few people bringing canvas totes into their grocery shopping. And so that way you're also eliminating a lot of plastic. So these are just like little things that we could do to really make our stance or our footprint in the world bigger, but less. And it sounds very Zen-like, doesn't it? So it makes you feel better and bigger, but it's a smaller footprint. Why? Less plastic, less things that are going to damage the environment, damage the air, the atmosphere. Because think about it, when they're making plastic, where's that smell going? It's infusing into the air and we're inhaling it.
And draining off into our rivers and streams.
And it's going into our rivers and streams. If you find those 6-pack containers, please pick them up, cut them before you recycle them. Things like that. It takes 2 seconds. 2 seconds to do these things. It doesn't take much. I have seen animals with their heads stuck in bottles, and I've had to, sometimes you can't even save them. They're dead, and they're stuck in because they're thinking it's food in there. So all of these things will make us more responsible, and it'll make our world a little bit nicer, a little bit better. So the little things absolutely mean a lot. So that's important.
And I think that's the whole spirit of Earth Day. I mean, it was a ground roots movement, based on that.
And it was 1970, and look, it's been going on. It's 2016, and it's still happening.
They didn't even have hashtags back then. How did that happen?
Right? There was very little social media, if any social media. It's probably pamphlets and things like that on telephone poles back in the day. So
public radio.
Public radio. I myself was only 3 years old. So that tells you how long it's been. See these gray hairs? So this is all part of it. It's the hippies in the 60s did a lot of good things other than do drugs and make like wanton love everywhere. They were more mindful. We could learn a lot from way back when what they did. And they kind of set the bar for today. So honestly, if you speak up, or if you are more proactive into helping and honoring Mother Nature, or honoring yourself and doing things a little more naturally, try not to eat processed foods, things like that, you're going to make yourself and the world a better place. So it doesn't take much. So, Natalie, what are you thinking about doing for honoring Earth Day today? Are you going to make it outside, possibly?
I may. It looks like thunderstorms today, but
Uh-oh.
I'll try. I was actually going to focus on a little bit of self-care today.
Ah, there you go. Self-care is important as well. So that also does it. Plus, too, if you can buy a plant. That's also something you could do too today for Earth Day. Like I said earlier, you can go ahead and buy a plant and then take care of that plant. And then if you have an outside garden, you can transplant it outside. There's a lot of community gardens that I've seen, projects that they've made community gardens where everyone has a stake in or has a part in nurturing this community garden. The great thing about that is your kids can go play in it. That's another thing you can start for Earth Day. See if you can start a community garden nearby. If there's a big spot of grass that isn't doing anything, talk to your local town council or your local politicians and say, hey, we'd like a community garden. Maybe they'll jump on it and help you with putting a little park together or something like that. All of that makes a lot of sense. And all of that is just a little things you could do to make a big impact. So the world can be a better place, but we have to think about it. And we have to do something. And we have to say something. It's more than a hashtag, people. Mm-hmm. It's more than just being, oh yeah, I gave to such and such, and you're doing it just for the tax write-off. Do it because you want to do it. Do it because you want to make the world a better place. And if you do that, then it's like makes all the difference in the world. You know, definitely. So big self-care day today. Yeah. That's good. That's awesome. Also, Tony, you're here. How you doing, Tony? He's like in the background, probably doing some work. Possibly at this up. Oh, perfect example. Oh, where'd he go? He could have been bounced out. Oh, there he is. Hey, Tony, question. Now, Tony here that's in the room and in the show personally, he has a coffee shop. Now, do you have travel mugs at your coffee shop? Just curious. Because I have a travel mug collection from all over the world. Whenever I go, I get some kind of travel mug as well. Yes, and Beth's a coffee freak. Yes, I can honestly say I had to wean myself off of a lot of coffee, and I only do a couple of coffees a day. That's a little bit of self-care too. Too much caffeine, not so good for you. Definitely.
It's not so bad for you either.
Well, is anything out of moderation. That's kind of the
Including
thing.
Moderation.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big part of it too. You know, it's the whole moderation thing and balance. Don't do too much. Don't do too little. Try to stay as balanced as you can. That's huge. Excellent. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the recording and close down the show. However, I will be on for a bit longer for an after show. If you guys are welcome to stay for a bit. But I wanted to say thank you for coming to Insight with Moonshadow. I'm Moonshadow. Definitely pop over to my YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube, look at my webpage. I will pop my webpage in the chat. And also, be kind to yourself, be kind to the planet, give Mother Earth a big hug. Enjoy your spiritual holiday if you have one presently.
Thank you.
And also, yes, and also remember, things you do today will definitely have an impact tomorrow. So catch you guys on Monday.
Namaste.
Namaste.